Most of Montreal's rail transit feels straight out of Europe, from rubber-tired metro trains to automated regional rail. But then there's EXO, Montreal's commuter rail system, which feels distinctly North American. Bi-level locomotive-hauled trains fan out across 5 suburban lines, with schedules mostly oriented around 9-to-5 weekday commuters. Only 2 lines have weekend service. Operationally, EXO is pretty similar to a lot of systems in mid-sized US cities. But then, things get weirder. EXO only has 5 lines, yet its Montreal-bound trains terminate in 5 different locations around the city. So how does this wild setup work? Where do lines go? And why does this diesel engine have a pantograph? The only way to find out is to go for a ride. Our first trip for this video will be on the Saint-Jerome Line. From the suburban city of Saint-Jerome, this line runs 39 miles into Lucien-Lallier station in downtown Montreal. But not all trains make the full journey. Select off-peak weekday trains terminate at Park Station, with interchange to the Metro's Blue Line. And on weekends like today, trains don't even enter Montreal. So we're leaving that most Canadian of institutions, Tim Hortons, and I got my the farmer's sandwich, partially eaten. And Josh, we are about to ride Montreal's commuter rail, so surely we're just going to Gare Centrale to get on a train conveniently from downtown, right?
Oh, Caleb, I wish it was that simple. I really wish it was that simple.
Here's what we're actually doing. We're taking the orange line of the Montreal Metro to de la Concours, its second to last stop, which is located in the neighboring city of Laval. This is where the Saint-Jerome Line terminates on weekends. While the metro station is quite robust, the EXO platform on the surface is a bit more bare bones. There is a display board, along with a booth, where people can buy tickets. Or do other things. Let's just say I did not want to stand in there any longer than I had to. Our train is made up of double-decker Bombardier coaches. We board from the low-level platform and pass through the vestibule.
On EXO, every car, the upper level, is a quiet car.
What?
Yep. Every car.
We take our seats in the lower level. This journey will take us 22 miles up to Saint-Jerome, the end of the line, in about 41 minutes. While we're waiting for the train to depart, I'm going to use the restroom, which is only in the cab car. I walk through the train to find the restroom. Okay, here's the restroom. It's pretty clean, smells fine. By the time I'm back, we're already stopping at Gare Vimont. This bare-bones station is still decked out in the IKEA-esque colors of the line's last operator. Over the years, Montreal's commuter trains have operated under several brands. Canadian National and Canadian Pacific ran services until the 1980s, at which point STM, the agency that runs Montreal's metro and bus services, assumed management of commuter trains as well. Operation was transferred over to a new agency called AMT in 1997, who rebranded trains accordingly. This agency was then dissolved in 2017 and replaced with a new agency called RMT, which branded the trains as EXO in 2018. Now, 8 years later, most of the trains I filmed for this video still bear AMT liveries. We cross the Thousand Island River and arrive at Gare Rosemère. It's worth noting that in French, the primary language here in Quebec, they use different words for different types of train stations. A gare is typically a station for heavy rail, while a station is what you would call a stop on the metro. There's not a ton to see as we cruise up the line. Saint-Thérèse has some of the most trackside development we've seen since de la Concours. After the station, tracks for the Quebec-Gatineau Railway branch off headed towards Gatineau, and we turn into an S-curve that breaks up the journey. On weekends like today, EXO runs 6 round trips between Saint-Jerome and de la Concours. On weekdays, 11 round trips run to Lucien-Lallier, with another 3 terminating at Parc. Gare Mirabel opened in 2021 and features distinct EXO branding. From here, it's only a few kilometers to Montreal Mirabel Airport. This massive facility serves cargo flights, but back in the day, it saw passenger service as well, including on major international flights. However, the airport's great distance from downtown proved unpopular, and eventually all passenger traffic shifted to the closer Dorval Airport, now Trudeau Airport, with the last flights at Mirabel taking place in October 2004, and the passenger terminal being torn down 10 years later. We pass the yard for EXO and cruise into Saint-Jerome, population around 80,000. The station features a low-level platform with shelters and this screen, which is definitely working. The welcoming headhouse features exposed wood both outside and in, and serves as a connection point with several different bus routes, which have their own bays outside. Our locomotive is a Bombardier ALP 45DP, which is capable of running on both diesel and overhead electric power. You may have seen these before on New Jersey Transit, which has overhead electric power, unlike EXO. There's a reason this engine is here though, but to explain that, we need to zoom out and look at the whole system. EXO has 5 lines in all, and like most of Canadian railroading, they're divided between Canadian National and CPKC trackage. All 3 CPKC lines feed into Lucien Lallier Station. That's the Saint-Jerome Line. The Vaudreuil Hudson line we'll be riding later, and the Candiac line to Candiac, which features a special ghost train just for visitors to the Railroad Museum along its route. Check out Sammy Marco's channel for coverage of that. On the Canadian National side, the Mont-Saint-Hilaire line feeds into Gare Centrale, which also serves Via Rail and Amtrak. On my departure from Montreal, I took a quick look at their area of the station, tucked off to one side of the concourse. In the past, the De Montagne line ran from Gare Centrale to De Montagne, passing through a tunnel deep under Montreal in the process. The tunnel couldn't handle diesel fumes, so the whole line was electrified, and run with electric multiple units by the time it was handed over to EXO. The Mascouche line paralleled the De Montagne line until after Montreal, where it split off to Mascouche. Since this bit didn't have electric wires, but this bit went through a deep tunnel under the city that had to use electric power, EXO purchased dual-mode locomotives for the service. But then things changed. The De Montagne line was closed and replaced with the REM. The Mascouche line was temporarily rerouted around the tunnel, adding an obscene amount of journey time. Now it terminates at Côte de Liesse station on the REM. Passengers can still make an easy transfer from diesel push-pull consists to automatic electric trains at Côte de Liesse. Also, the Mascouche line is the only EXO service with any wheelchair-accessible stations. Why are you like this, Montreal? As a reminder, this video and its cough drop budget was made possible thanks to my generous Patreon supporters. Join today for early access to my videos on other Canadian rail systems with 3-letter names. I press a button to open the door to our train, and we head back towards Laval, passing farmland out the window. One nap later, we're back at De la Concorde, where we catch a train to Bernie Beignet, a legendary local donut shop, where I absorb an excellent maple bacon treat. Then it's more local transit to Lucien Lallier. Long ago, Canadian Pacific passenger trains terminated at the beautiful Windsor station, which is now an office building. You can even see the spaces where the tracks used to sit, heading off to the west. But in the 90s, these tracks were severed from the rail network with the construction of the Bell Centre, Montreal's main downtown arena, home to the Montreal Canadiens. Better luck next time, guys. A new Terminus Windsor was built to the west of the Bell Centre. This was renamed to Lucien Lallier in 2001 after the nearby metro station. Passing through an entryway with a cool logo, we enter the station's waiting area, which features a gift shop for the Habs, passageways into the Bell Centre, and giant posters for EXO, including one showing a livery that doesn't exist yet on locomotives.
So they run extra trains for Habs games, right?
Nope. They run regular schedule, so if the game runs long or something, and you're trying to use one of these lines to get out for a weekday game, good luck.
The Vaudreuil Hudson line is the only service here on weekends, with just 4 round trips on Saturdays and 3 on Sundays. We'll be riding it from here to Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue, the last stop on the island of Montreal. Sitting by the newly canopied but still inaccessible platform, our train is powered by an EMD F59 PHI, and we walk past it to board another double-decker car.
Situation report, it is 1:35. Train doors are still open, and we're not going anywhere.
Alright, we are now departing about 15 minutes behind schedule.
We roll west and leave downtown. Our first stop is Vendôme, serving the Royal Victoria Hospital with connection to the Orange Line.
A dude just ran up to the train as it was pulling away. We didn't stop for him.
Montreal West is next, after which we cross over a Canadian National Line. In a yard to the south, we can see EXO's fleet of CRRC bi-level cars, painted in a new livery featuring the O in EXO. Then a set of Canadian National tracks comes up alongside us. They'll follow us for the rest of our run. The next several stations are nearly identical as we parallel Highway 20.
So I think it's really cool that Montreal has this commuter rail service, but if you're coming here for scenic views, what you're seeing out the window is what I've been seeing for the past 30 minutes.
After 43 minutes of travel, we make it to Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue, where we step off and watch our train pull away. Over on the Canadian National tracks, a Via Rail train streaks by without stopping. And as we descend to the bus stop for our return journey, a CPKC train rumbles through, with the helper engine decked out in KCS colors. So that was EXO. It's basically what happens when you take average American commuter trains and stuff them into Montreal's weird and wonderful rail network. Overall, I had a good time on the system, and it moves a good 30,000 people daily. But the usual commuter rail critiques apply. Not enough weekend service, over-reliance on 9-to-5 traffic, low frequency outside of that, use of freight rail tracks, and dieselization of everything. It makes you think, what if you could be free of all of that? What if there was a system that solved all the typical commuter rail problems and more? What if someone made rail advocates' talking points into a real train system? And what if that train system was right here in Montreal all along? Yes, you know it, you love it, we're riding the REM next week. Stay tuned.